Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net, your choice for the conservative voice. This is Carol Parisi with our founder, Jack Roser. Our very special guest today is Rick Pere, and we are talking about radical fundamentalist Islam. Rick is an expert on radical Islam, has been in Afghanistan and Iran, and knows the lay of the land, and also available to speak to your specific group if you would like to have more information.
As I understand it, you aren't just a book, learn from books commentator on this. You've been in the field and dealing with this thing on a...
I've been in gun battles with the Taliban.
Yeah.
And I've been as closest from me to you to members of the Taliban, sitting across a table, talking with them.
And you've been in this kind of a military, otherwise involved thing for how many years?
I've been over there with the military and as a civilian contractor working over there. I was in the military for 38 years. I was in Iraq in 2005, 2006, and I was in Afghanistan 2008, 2009, 2010, and I just went back for a below the radar visit here a while back.
So you've been involved in this Islamic thing in military and intelligence operations for approaching 10 years of it involved in
almost 10 years. Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. Well, that's been when this thing has come into great prominence.
Well, we're at a point right now where it looks, from the inside standpoint of view, is that the West, as we know it, Western Europe is lost. It's Islamic.
What do you mean by that, though?
Sharia law has taken over not only Islamic cultures that are living in France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Northern Macedonia, Northern Italy, but it's making inroads here in the United States. We're in great danger.
What do you mean Sharia law? Is Islam Sharia law?
Sharia law is a strict interpretation of Muslim law according to the Quran, not only in personal everyday life, but in business life, banking, religious life, and how people are educated under Islam.
My understanding, and it is limited and bookish, is that the Quran proceeded out of Muhammad some 600 years after the time of Jesus. And the Quran got written, but then in a later development, the Sharia law was imposed.
Well, there's four different books. It's not just the Quran. The Quran is the main book.
The Sharia law came
the Sharia law comes
much later.
The Sharia law comes straight out of the Quran, okay? But there's also the Hadith, the Surah, okay, and the Sirah that you have to pay attention to. These are three other books, okay, that make up the total library of religious belief and set about the principles how Islam will conquer the world. And this is actually in the books.
It's from
this
the
sounds
holy
like an
books?
awful lot of expansion of any spiritual intuition or inputting you.
It's not
in a
spiritual
basis for
intuition. A
belief.
lot of people don't understand that the basis of Islam is not a religion of peace. Islam is a religion of war, and always has been.
It sounds like Mein Kampf more than the Bible.
Well, the problem is that the 5 pillars of Islam, the basis of Islam, the 5 pillars that set up the foundations of Islam, are being supplanted by a 6th pillar that religious imams and clerics are trying to infuse into mainstream Islam today, and that is jihad. Okay, it is not a personal struggle of peace on how to better yourself, although that part is an element of jihad. The major part of Islam, of Islamic jihad, is the conquest of the rest of the non-believing world and the conversion of that world into Islam.
Why?
People don't understand. It is set aside in 117 verses in the Quran, also in the other 3 books, okay, that Muhammad was stated in dreams that he received from Allah. By the way, there are 100 names.
So
there are 100 names of Allah. There are only 99 known to the world. Muhammad knew the 100th name of Islam. Nobody else knew that name. Okay, all prayer beads that Muslims have 33 beads on them. Okay, with 3 other dividers that represent 33 times 3, which are the 99 names of Allah. Okay, most American people don't know anything about this.
Well, that's a nice, neat hunk of arithmetic, but it sounds like it's pure invention, which seems to me
But you're
there's
talking
very
about
little revelation in this thing.
Well, there's a revelation in terms of the Muslim way of belief. Okay, the Prophet.
This is sounding more like
I know.
Mein Kampf to me.
Well,
Hitler wrote that
the
thing
problem is that the Islamic Brotherhood actually stayed with the Nazis during World War II.
Yes.
The Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, who was one of the founders of radical fundamentalist Islam, okay, founders of Hezbollah, spent World War II living in Berlin and even assisted the Nazi government in Germany in raising an SS Panzer Grenadier Division in the Balkans called the Handschar Division, whose members were Muslim. And the reason that they were embraced by the Nazi government was because they both held the same aims in kind, the extermination of the Jewish people of the world.
But it sounds like that radical Islam wants to exterminate more than just the Jews.
But
they want
Jews particularly are a target of radical fundamentalist Islam. Al-Qaeda, the PLO, okay, and all the other Hamas, CAIR, C-A-I-R, not C-A-R-E, but C-A-I-R, okay, which is an organization in the United States that sends money and is actually involved in criminal litigation in Texas in a court case here in the last 4 years. The training goes all the way back to the training of the Hitler Youth during and before World War II on how children are trained and raised to hate. You're talking about a culture that trains and raises their children in hatred.
You know, it's very strange that I brought in Mein Kampf, which there was a copy. My brother bought a copy of it way back in 1940 or so. And it's funny that I would bring that name into this because I had no prior reason or thought that
well,
it
the
was
definition
connected.
of the term Mein Kampf is my
in
struggle.
German, it means my battle.
My battle and my struggle. The definition of jihad is my struggle.
Gosh.
It's the very
you
same
caught
thing.
that,
Now,
right?
but we're
You
only
caught
talking.
it.
But we're
You
only
made that
talking about
connection.
15% of the Muslim population of the world. They're in great jeopardy too. There are 20 prohibitions in Islam that prevent a member of the Muslim faith from having literally anything to do as much as they can with the Western world. And it places those 20 prohibitions, any violation of those prohibitions can place an individual Muslim in great jeopardy and great danger. And I have lost 4 personal friends in Afghanistan.
They were Muslim.
Who were Muslim Afghani Americans. Afghani Americans with security clearances, working with American forces and contractors who have been executed by the Taliban or been car bombed in IEDs.
But they're Muslims. Why would they
Because
do their
they're
own people?
because they're fighting against radical Islam.
Let me get into something that come up in my own reading of this thing. I understand that there are 3 divisions of people in the Islamic world. There are the believers in Islam. There are that's they are the chosen ones, and there are those that don't believe it, that are Catholics.
They call them kafirs. Kafirs.
So we're kafirs.
We're kafirs, according to the radical Muslim world.
I'll handle that later. But the one in between is Dimini.
Dimini,
and as far as these guys on the top end are concerned, is that these other 2 categories have to disappear, and if you don't transit through it, they're going to cut your damned head off.
The Quran states that there are 3 things you can do with a non-believer. Either convert them. If they refuse to be converted, once you have given them the opportunity to convert to Islam, there are only 2 other options. Enslave them.
What do you mean by enslave them?
Physically. Slavery is very big in the Middle East right now. Human slavery, and Islam has always been a purveyor of human slavery. A lot of people don't know that.
Even
What's
in the
the
Bible,
third
it goes
Even from the Bible all the way down,
all
the way to African slavery in the 18, 15, 16, 1700s.
What's the third thing?
In
Kill them.
Romans
Kill them.
in the Bible, it says, "Be kind to your slaves." You know, slavery was an institution that was accepted in times so different from ours.
Human slavery is
It's
still
a little bit like child labor.
We have a
Child
burgeoning
labor was
problem
a
of
thing.
human slavery in the world today.
We are going to hear more from Rick Pere. And Jack, you astounded me when you knew about all those three things. We'll be back after the break.